Welcome back. Today we're talking about the digital sweet spot. This is a really cool concept, but it's going to take a little explaining to get into. Okay, so in every DAW, you have your effects rack and your faders for all your channel inserts. And what's interesting about FL Studio is that all of these faders are called post effects faders, meaning that they only change the output of the signal after the effects have had a chance to work on the signal. So, in effect, this fader doesn't do anything for the signal going into the effects within this specific insert. So, with that being said, it's interesting that programmers have actually designed effects to work optimally when their input is at a certain level. Now, again, this is just a generalization, but for by and large, this is what's standard. So the standard sweet spot is set at negative 18 decibels, and this is peak, not an RMS value. So you want to be peaking around negative 18 on average. So I'll just play this back real quick. Okay, you're going to notice that for the most part, we're peaking pretty close to minus 18. Now, what you can do to change the signal going into all your other effect slots within an insert is to use a trim knob. And in FL Studio, the lead programmer Goal has suggested that users use the Fruity Stereo Enhancer as their trim knob. And you just load it up by default, and it's going to have this volume knob that you can change until your peaks hit minus 18. Now, why does all this matter? Well, a lot of effects were designed by programmers to emulate real analog hardware. So things with actual circuits, transistors, little electric parts that actually saturate, distort, and work on the signal. And in the digital world, a lot of, savvy programmers have emulated how these pieces of hardware behave with that incoming signal. Now, why does this matter for you? Well, if you're serious about how your music sounds and how a particular instrument comes across in a mix, there's a lot of little subtleties that can separate you from a lot of other producers, competition, what have you. I don't like using the word competition because, everybody's just trying to survive. So, all that being said, I'm going to give you a quick example here. So, on slot 9, I am just going to put in a UAD Pultec. So, if you take a look at this plugin here, there are no input gain controls. So, without this trim knob here, we wouldn't, outside of the controls on the instrument or the VST itself, we can't change the signal feeding into the Pultec, which is why this gain knob is important. So I'm just going to do some A-Bing here as I play this piano back, and it's going to be super subtle. Okay, so what's super cool is that even though everything is zeroed out on this emulation plugin, just by putting it in the chain, it is affecting the signal going through. You might have noticed that the piano sounded a little bit more thick, a little bit more saturated, came to life. It felt less uh, digital. It's hard to put these into words at 3 in the morning, but what this means is that you are probably better off setting up a template where you have a bunch of different trim knobs already placed on your inserts. And this gives you a lot more control over your mix. And it's just a really, can't even speak. It's a really cool tip to know. I know this tutorial stretched a little long, but I didn't want to cheapen it for you. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace.